Hey everyone, this is Nico from the road to Japan. You are obviously sitting here, with me in my car. Don't worry, I'm not driving. I don't do that. The whole business with driving and talking and recording videos. I don't know how people can do that and not be able to focus entirely on one thing or the other. So no, I'm actually just sitting here in the parking lot at my campus, and you're balanced on the steering wheel, so I apologize if there's any camera movement or what have you, but I'll try to keep the camera as steady as possible. So what are you watching? This is basically like kind of a unfiltered sort of unscripted video segment. I'm basically calling it a quick vid. So as you can tell, there's no backdrop or any of that, and you're gonna hear noises as cars and people go by, but where I park is relatively quiet. So the purpose of these videos are just going to be kind of like just getting random thoughts out there that may not necessarily be enough of a subject to put on a podcast episode. And like obviously the camera's portable, so I can have it with me in a lot of other places than just at my home. So if I come across some thought or am inspired to speak about something, at least I can keep my camera in the car and then you know bring it up as time goes on. So one thing I was thinking about as I was getting up this morning, because it's Thursday, it's towards the end of the week, and as the week goes on for me with this new schedule of mine in the current semester, where just to give you a timeline, this is right after I recorded session 3 episode 1, so that was recorded last weekend, so we're right around that period of time. So it's like the first week of December, or not December, I'm getting way ahead of myself. It's the first week of September. Labor Day weekend is coming up here. And, as I was getting up this morning, I was just thinking about how my time to wake up gets earlier and earlier as the week goes on. Basically, my classes get earlier and earlier. So I was just curious about schedules of other college students. I know not everyone's in my particular situation where they go to school full time and work full time. So for me, I work from 3 o'clock to 11 o'clock in the afternoon / evening. It's what is considered a second shift in this area of the country. When I lived in Portland, we usually called it swing shift, but for some reason they call it second shift over here. So anyway, I work second shift at my job, which if any of you follow along, I'm not really fond of and all that. Which means I take my classes in the morning. Last semester and the semester before, I was actually taking my classes in the evenings. So it meant late nights either way. But the difference now is that the time I get home is consistent, and the time I wake up is where the variables come in. So like Mondays and Wednesdays, I only have one class, and it's late in the morning, so that goes from 11 o'clock to 1 o'clock. And then Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays are my early days, as I put it, in which Tuesdays and Thursdays I am up at 8 o'clock in the morning, and I wake up at 8:30 on Mondays and Wednesdays, and I'm up at 8 Tuesdays and Thursdays, and my first class on Tuesdays and Thursdays is at 9:30. That's my English class, and then that goes till 11, and then at 11 I have one of my economics courses, and that goes till 12:30. And then Fridays are my earliest day, where I get up at 7:30 because I have class at 9. And the reason I wake up so early, especially since like campus is pretty much like a 10 or 15 minute drive for me, is just because, like, especially as the week goes on, it just becomes more and more of a struggle to get out of bed. I mean, I'm not like some of those people. Like, I don't do like a snooze alarm or anything. I usually, when my alarm goes off, it goes off, and that's it. I'm up. It's just a matter of, getting out of bed and just not falling victim to falling back asleep, because that's where I will get in trouble. Thankfully, that doesn't happen to me very often, but I mean, if the week's been really grueling, then yeah, it can lay those traps out for me. So, I mean, the point of this was that I was curious what other, what some of the other students out there have for your schedules. I mean, for me personally, I live on my own. I have a car payment, things of that nature. So that necessitates me having to work full time. I mean, if there was some way to only have a part-time job so I could focus more on school. I mean, I already dedicate like all my spare time to, class stuff anyway. But if I was just able, I mean, my job creates a lot of stress and anxiety. Not to the point where I'm gonna, go crazy or anything, but it's just an added item that I wish I didn't have. But I mean, duh, that's what everyone wishes. And I mean, I really envy those students that are able to only go to school, where all they have to do is just go to class, do homework, maybe even they're able to stay in a dorm or something and still have some kind of social life. I don't know. I haven't really had that experience myself, but I was just curious, like, what other students out there kind of go through as far, like, what is a day in the life of, you guys out there. Do you have part-time jobs? Do you have multiple part-time jobs? Do you work full-time like I do? And when I say full-time, I mean I'm just doing a straight 40 hours a week. During the breaks, like winter and this past summer, I will work overtime if it is offered, just because, I mean, we can all use that extra buck. And to be honest, I get kind of bored when when I'm on break. I think I will slowly eat those words as the semester goes on, thinking that, oh man, I kind of wish I had that, time to just lay around and do nothing or whatever it was I was doing over the summer. But now my weekends are dedicated to homework, and that's what I'm gonna do. And just like the semesters before, I'm always striving to get that A. So so far so good. But I'm curious. I want to see in comments, or if you're so compelled to do so, even in like something like a video response. Tell me what your life is like as a college student. Are your classes overwhelming? Are your classes like spread out only over a couple days? Like you do it all in, say, a Monday or Tuesday, where you have maybe AM and PM classes, and then you work like Wednesday through Saturday or something like that. I assume that might be the case for those of you that might work in like retail or in like a bar or some kind of food establishment. But I'm just curious, I just want to see, I can't imagine everyone's living, their college life the same way I am. So, let me know, drop a comment or a video response. Or if you don't want to do it on YouTube, you can always write, email at theroadtojapan.com, or you can follow the Twitter account at theroadtojapan, so on and so forth. I mean, if you listen to the show, you already know how to get a hold of it. I don't know how often I'll do these quick vids. The idea is that I'll get these, recorded and put up in a fairly short amount of time. That's the whole point, is that I can't really dedicate a ton of time to, finite editing and things of that nature. So, this is just kind of an experiment. We'll see how it goes. But, until next time, minasan, gambate.